Okay, let's start today. Um, for the current sprint, I just want to go through the tickets for the current sprint, and there are quite a lot of activities for this later spring, even though it's just like for only like 3-4 days so far. Actually, only 3 days because we start on Tuesday, and then today is Friday, so actually it's like 3-4 days so far. So we have quite a few of tickets then, mainly the UI for the error resolution for the form data in the error queue. I just want to go through the tickets that they are on hold or in progress. I think those are in code review. Most of them has been tested or it just recently moved there earlier today. So just look at 57 just to see what that is. This one is wizard should not to search and replace. So I tested it yesterday. I think it encountered a different problem because I was trying to confirm the behavior to make sure it's correct. So Win told me that the testing procedure is to set up the wizard and then not to complete all the steps in the middle of it, do like a force stop, and then try to go back to the app again, and it should start from the first step. However, when I do a force stop, I noticed there's a behavior that it would not actually force stop. When I go back to the app, it go back to the landing page without asking me to log in again. Because confirmed that this is existing issue. It's not really related to this ticket. So I think I'm going to have another ticket to address this issue, so that that can be taken care of before we can test further for this ticket. I don't know if you guys experience the same thing when you try to do like a force stop of the application, that it doesn't actually stop. Do you guys experience something similar?
Yeah, hi Tim. I would say at times I would say that is true. When you first stop, it doesn't stop, and what now happens is you try and replace the existing APK.
Derek, are you still there?
Ada.
Seems like he has come. Oh, he's back. Hey, Derek, I think you need to continue because you got cut off earlier.
Okay, yeah, I was saying what is happening is when you try to, it's true that when you try to force stop the application, it will not force stop. So what has been happening is I've not been clearing data. What I do is just to replace the existing APK directly without stopping it. Yeah. Eda? Hello?
Yeah, I was on mute. Sorry, I was typing the update. So that's good to confirm that you also experience the same thing. So it's not like device specific or unique situation.
Sure.
Um, is there any comments or questions on this ticket?
None from me. None from me at the moment.
Okay. Um, okay, let's look at another one. Is 54. It's about improve with the download process. I think because Win coming from Win, because I will not be able to provide information. I think Win just did it earlier. Is Vikas on the call with you, Shweta?
Yes, hi, Ira. Both of us are on the call.
I don't know if that is sufficient information for you.
I haven't gone to actually to be
Okay.
honest. Yeah.
So Win was saying that I think we want to have all the low-level operation to stay in the Search API module. So low-level save operation will be in the Search API. The saving operation doesn't need to be exposed outside of the Search API. This should be how Search API internally handle downloading operation. No need to separate them. All downloads should go through the same process. Mhm.
So, Vin, so uh, I thought Search API is only doing that operation, not the saving part, I guess.
Hey Win, how about you explain a little bit on this one?
Search API does all the low-level operations. So the saving is actually happening in Search API, and then downloading process also happen on the Search API. The mUzima API is just calling Search API and passing what we want to save and then what kind of data we want to download.
So you mean when we are downloading, actually it will save into the local repository also?
I think for this download process, what I was thinking is we put it temporary, so you get the payload information and then just save it in a temporary file. And then if, for example, we do download again, then we check this temporary storage first to make sure that, oh, we already did this, and then we just need to continue from the last time we download. So, and this will also fix the potential issue that we download something and then in the middle of the download process, the internet got cut off, or we don't have reliable internet in the middle of the download process.
Okay, so, correct me if I'm wrong, Pin. So the flow will be in Search API. First, it will download it, save it locally in a temporary file. Once it is completed successfully, uh, we'll save again into our local repository. Is
Correct.
it okay? If somehow internet got disconnected, then temporary next time when he open the application, we will identify whether we have the temporary files or not. If it is there, then we'll skip the process of downloading those existing data, and we'll continue with the new which we want to download from the server.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Next one is 258. Is the mUzima application not accepting change password at login? I tested it yesterday. When I tried to on the login page, now it has a new option in saying that, hey, have you changed your password recently? So when you tick on it and then you enter your username and password and try to get into it, however, I get the error message saying that the combination was not correct. So that's why I move it to the status of in progress.
Yeah. Ida, hi. Just Veda. So I was just wondering, I don't know if you want to do it after this call or because I don't want to eat into the time.
Yeah, sure. I can do it after the call, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe I can just see how you're testing it.
Uh-huh.
Because I tested it on mine and I couldn't really, it's working.
Good.
And I also sent the same APK to Vikas, and he didn't have a problem either logging in.
Uh-huh.
So that's why I just want to just double check.
Okay.
Maybe I'm not missing how you're testing it.
Okay, sure. We can do it after the call.
Sure.
Another one is 249 is the CDM screening form. Simon, do you want to go through this one?
The Lawrence looked at the form. I uploaded it on the test server. So he raised some issues which I've addressed, and I've just updated the ticket to indicate that I'm now waiting for him to do a test. So hopefully he should be looking at it. If he finds it's fine, then I will change the ticket to code review.
Okay. Thanks. So now let's look at those under code review. Win, do you want to? Maybe I can do that, and then let's just see who's the owner of the tickets. This one is separate online authentication and local authentication. I tested it with different scenario and combinations, and they all work. I don't experience any problems, so I assume it works with no issues. And since we already did the code review previously, I think it's ready for merging.
Cool. I will merge it.
Okay, thanks. Another one is 127, a preference of encounter provider under setting. So, Vikas, do you want to talk about this one? Because I think there's some recent activities.
Yeah, this is for setting the logged in user as a default encounter provider for the form. So what I have done, it is basically part of mUzima 231. I needed the changes from mUzima 231. So what I have done, I've created a new commit in mUzima 231 branch. So the issue, actually I found one issue while testing the APK before uploading to the, the Dropbox. So I did today. And the functionality wise, we have one checkbox in under setting. When you check that, logged in user will become a default encounter provider for all the forms. So we introduce a new validation check whether that user is a provider or not. So in order to validate, what we are doing is at the very beginning, the uh, logged in users provider data will get downloaded by default, and we are setting it locally, because if we do the validation at the time of taking that encounter provider checkbox, it requires the internet connectivity, so it talk to the database and validate whether it is a provider or not. So rather than checking with the server, what we are doing is we are downloading by default the login user provider data into the device, and user will check that tick that particular checkbox. It will validate from the local repository whether it has that provider role or not. If it is having the provider role, then it will set login user at default provider. It will inject the provider ID and the provider name in form. In case if repo doesn't have the provider data, then it will prompt a message. Either you don't have the provider list, the provider role, or you need to download the provider data from add provider option.
Okay, that's very nice. So I will test it when the APK is available. Are you going to provide the snapshot APK, or when supposed to generate one for this one?
I have already generated and I will upload it.
Okay, great. Thanks. I think this one would be really helpful. The next ticket is 251 at validation against bounded. I tested it yesterday. It was working as expected. I tested against the location, encounter location and provide the location options. And if I enter anything outside of the list, it would prompt me message, a warning message for me to make correction. So this is very nice. I think it's ready for merging for this one.
So for this one, I think we should also open another ticket because as part of this, we refactored the autocomplete part of the code, and because of the refactoring, uh, initially there on each of those dispensary, oncology, breast cancer, all of those forms had this code inside the forms. So I've moved that all to muzima.js. Um, so right now we have to have a ticket which will go and remove all that data, all of that code that is sitting on each of those forms right now. So we should open another ticket which says that refactor all the forms.
Yeah, we need to apply the changes to all other forms data.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. Next one is download provider list to the local repo. So I tested yesterday, and I think this is really nice feature that it's been updated in the wizard as well as new options under the settings. So this is very nice. And also one enhancement that Wikis added was if if the user try to download the same provider to the already downloaded list, it will prompt you a message saying that it's already in the local repo, so no need to download again. And I was not able to test further because the sample form has some validation for me to open it. Because provide another updated form, I will do the testing later today. Any comment or feedback on this one? So one thing I want to point out is that I'm trying a little bit, putting a little bit more extra efforts on when we update the tickets, especially how we tested it. In the past, I would just, most of us just say that, oh, I tested it, it works, or something like that. But I hope I'm trying to change the way we update the tickets, provide a little bit more detail how we actually tested it. The same thing that from developers to explain what actually is the issues, how they actually fix the issues on the tickets. I think if we include, when we improve the comments like those on the tickets as we move on, it will be much better, especially when we have new member to join. They can always reference back to the old tickets, and learn from them, instead of saying, oh, it's been fixed or it's been tested, it works. I think we're trying to change the culture here that to include more information, so it will be more obvious even when new person come in, or maybe just someone interested in knowing what we're doing. It will be more obvious for them. I hope it makes sense for everyone. Thank
you, Ada. I think it's really great if we can do that.
Yeah. it takes a little bit extra effort to list out step by step, and I'm sure the same thing for the developer, the same thing, like to list out what exactly the problem is and how you exactly fix it. I think this is really good for everyone, especially let's say that one developer work on this but not the other one, but in case something later on very related, he or she can reference back to the tickets without even asking a lot of questions. I think this would just save time long run and also knowledge transfer. Let's just try to make the efforts together. I know that it would take a little bit time for all of us to remember it, to become a habit, but hopefully in a month and we become like a standard for us.
Ada, I just have a suggestion. I'm not sure if it's going to be helpful, but I realized that you added a new feature to the Jira, and the template allows us to link to the Accra. Is there any we can also add like a tab or something which says testing? Because,
yes, we can do that.
Yeah. So, maybe under the testing, the developer can go and put in details about how he expects the Jira to be tested.
Yes.
And then the implementer can also test and then add like, I tested it this way and, I saw these problems or it's working, whatever.
Yeah, I think this is really, really good idea. We can add additional field saying the testing instructions or something like that. Do you guys want me to add one more field, maybe, I don't know what is this called, like, what the actual issue is, and then how, like, kind of like a brief sentence, like one or two, like how it got fixed or something like that. So that, because some of the tickets have so many comments, it's a little bit difficult to go through all of them, especially when we're doing like dozens of tickets at a time. I don't know if it's helpful we have another field, like just like a snapshot what actually happened, how you got it fixed or something like that.
Yeah, I think Win already suggested last time around for the testing thing. So I'm not sure. Win, did you have any idea in mind about where this testing thing should fit in?
Hey, Wayne, I think you're on mute.
I think we should, I don't know, create an agreement on how we want to do that. Because, I don't know.
How about we try what, so let's just try what we agreed like last time that.
Yeah, I like the way, I think you mentioned like double, I don't know, maybe it's too much for the testing, I don't know.
Say it one more time, Wayne.
Just like we agree on last time on the last call, I think we want to testing and then code review and then another testing.
I think that's what we're doing right now. Like, so if it's something simple,
yeah,
I think we can make. I think somehow maybe we can use the tickets like the what's the field name? Should we add like a field name or something like that to show whether this is what level, and then if it's like lower than certain level, we can reduce the step because it's pretty straightforward. But if it's really complicated or like a big change of the code, it needs to have the two-step review and testing.
I agree. Yeah, probably the priority will be good reference. Like minor will be just one.
So maybe when we do the tickets grooming, I think we also need to change the priority to different options.
Yeah.
Okay. Does everyone agree on this one?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. The next one is syncing form templates data to the device. And I tested it a few days ago, and then just have one minor suggestion to Simon, and then Simon made the changes and tested again yesterday. It's working expected. I did not really go through the steps because the step was already listed on the acceptance criteria right here. So, and then Lawrence also tested it and agreed. I think it's ready to move to merge. I think you might want to look at the code a little bit and then merge again with this one.
Okay.
Do you guys want to go through those already done? So basically, what I moved to those already done are really related to the UI error resolution. Because it has been tested intensively, and also Win helped us to generate the also review the code and also generate the OMOPs for the registration and the mUzima processor. So I think it's already in AMRS test server for testing, and then the plan is supposed to be today, but probably likely to be early next week to move to the production, because I think they just put it on the test server. Is it correct, Simon?
It's correct.
So probably early next week, they should be ready for the MS production. And Simon, do you also want to talk about the demo and training you did with the team?
Yeah, I met the CDSS team and the implementers. That is the guys from LAC, CDM, and oncology. So we did a look at how the error resolution works. Well, I found that the error resolution UI was just a very small part. So I decided to just take them through the whole overview of the mUzima modules we have on the server side and the workflow of how data processing happens and error resolution. So after that discussion, I think everybody was fine, and guys promised to go ahead and do tests. Any issues they encounter, they will report to us. Yeah.
Okay, right. Is Eric still on, or he could drop off? Oh, he left. Okay. I was just trying to ask him for feedback, what he thinks. Okay.
Sorry, Eric or Derek?
Eric, sorry, because I think Eric was on in the training.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. And maybe what I would also say is the Miencha did confirm that the modules are already uploaded on Empath test server. The only challenge is accessing the test server publicly. So I was talking about this. Then I'll report back to the team as agreed in the meeting, that I'll report back to them whether it's accessible publicly. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I just mentioned something. What came out of that discussion was that there is need for guys to agree on a common approach when it comes to error resolution. For example, in a case where a duplicate patient identifier has been I mean, during registration, we have found it failed because the ID has been used for another patient. So it means they have to select a new patient ID. But remember, the same ID that was used has been communicated to the patient in the field, and probably the providers in the field already have that ID. So it means it is not just resolving on the interface, but also communicating the information back down to the field where it was used. So therefore, the implementers need to come up with some common approach or some SOP on how they need to address some of the error resolution issues. So I think Stephen will be following up that discussion to see how it goes.
Yeah. Could I ask if we can use the notification module on mUzima to do that also?
Sorry.
Yeah, I think the notification module can be used. We have to find a way of sending back the notifications to the feed just to inform the providers the changes so far that were made.
Yeah. No, I agree. Just when you're thinking about doing this at scale, it would seem to me that when there are errors that have occurred, I'm not saying this needs to be a priority, but we just have to think about a way of getting that notification back eventually to the person who had that information. I don't know what people think. I agree with this one.
So just refer back to the question on the chat on the side. Why we need to access the test server outside of the network. They actually have a public IP assigned to the test server. Is it that one not working? Do you know, Derek? Because I previously I was able to access to the MPAP test server from here without H2.
Yeah, I tried accessing, unless maybe the URL is test1. Yeah, I tried it and it wasn't going through. So that's when I went back to Miencha's team together with Thomas' team. That was during the training. I did try again during the training.
Yeah. Well, it seems to me that that's an issue that's an internal AMPATH issue that Derek needs to follow up. But from a testing standpoint, given the number of testers we have internally, it really shouldn't be used as a way to delay the testing. But the point is well taken. But that's Derek, that's an issue you need to follow up to get resolved. I don't think it's key to this conversation on a weekly call right now.
Yes, thanks, Martin.
Okay. Since we already went through all the tickets for the current sprint, this is just a lighter sprint. We talk about just 1 week sprint. Actually, right now it's only 3-4 days since Monday was holiday. And let's do retrospective review to see what we have done right and what areas that we could have improved better, and any other suggestions. So let's go through what we have done right this week. Anyone?
I think what I really liked is that I see that now whenever I'm talking from a developer standpoint is whenever I commit code, I know at what stage it is in. Like I know that people are testing on it and giving me feedback much quicker. So it's easier for me to react because I usually have just finished the Jira the previous day. So if there is probably an issue, I can fix it faster than if it's much later and then I have to go back and it's like understanding the situation again. So I really like that the feedback cycle is shorter now, and I can see at any point a snapshot of how the team is doing and who's working on what, so I can reach out to people in case I'm stuck on something or I need some help. So yeah, on the overall, I think it's a really good step for us because things are clearer and I feel more productive in general. So yeah,
So like faster turnaround time to get feedback.
yeah.
Any other comments? What we have done right? Okay, so let's go to the next one and what we could have done better or improved on this week. Looking at back this week.
I think I could be more faster in replying to tickets and doing code review.
I think not just you, and I also have another comment is I hope that's not just me as the tester and provide feedback. I hope more people do it with me. It's not just me. It's not really like I don't want to put in efforts to do it. I will still do it, but it would be nice to have more than one person to do testing and provide feedback so that we test it from different ways sometimes. So I hope that more people would participate in testing and providing feedback. So it's not always just Win and Ada. Anyone can do that as well.
Oh, speaking of code review, if everyone else want to also do the code review, so it doesn't have to be just me. And if everyone else want to go through the code and then just put comments on others' code, so we can learn from each other. I mean, previously I have me and Sam doing the code review, so it doesn't have to be fully on my side. I can check on the logic and whatnot, but you can also potentially have a look at Suita's code, Fika's code, or Simon's code, and then we can all do code review together. This is kind of the approach that being introduced in my right now. So every team can do the code review, so everyone can check on each other's code, so we can learn more, and so you know what other people are doing, and then what I miss, probably Simon or Suita or Fikas, you can spot and just put comments on the ticket. So
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this would be really good approach. Any other comments on or suggestions how we could have done better? The test server sometimes slow. You're talking about the mUzima test server or the MPath test server?
MPath test server.
It's not been a very good week for the connection from outside.
Yeah, even for the CDSS, I want to confirm the data. I'm having a lot of issues just getting into it.
I think in general the connection to MPath network this past week hasn't been really good.
Yeah. I'm not. Martin is asking why would you need access to the server publicly while at work? I think I don't know locally, but from outside here, when we need to do testing or checking data, we cannot really get into the test server.
Yes, no, Win actually recognize that. It is more a point of, we have something that we need to test now. I just don't want that to be used by an excuse by the team in Kenya for them testing. Okay? Yeah, I recognize that the test server need to be accessed publicly for sure. And that's why I was telling Derek it needs to be followed up. And as the technical point person on the team, he just needs to follow up and report back to the team.
Yeah, I think inside AMPAT network, I think it should be available because I think that server also have internal IP address. So probably accessing the test server using the local IP address instead of the public test1.ampat.or.ke and then use the local network. I think that would help getting into the test server. Maybe test that approach.
Right. So I have one suggestion, not necessary anytime soon, maybe in a couple months I would like to start the approach that we're going to alternate to have a person in charge of the sprint so that we can rotate. I think this will be a good experience for each member. But I think we need like a couple months for us to really iron out all the steps and all those like questions, so that in a couple months I hope that we all can take turn and rotate to be in charge of the sprint. So that's one suggestion.
Cool.
Okay. So any other suggestion and feedback comment? Going once?
Yeah, just again,
just
thank everyone for kind of the improved processes and the number of tickets that have been closed. It seems like there's very good process and very good systems in place. And Ed, obviously, thank you for leading the whole process.
We are trying, and I'm glad everyone's on board and put in effort. It still takes a little bit of time for us to get used to the style and the new formats, but I think everyone has been putting in extra effort. Yeah. Great. So I know that we are not supposed to work on the tickets out of the sprint and things like that, but sometimes when it would be really helpful for when let's say that I ask the status of the old ticket, it would be helpful for the person or to provide feedback, because some of the ticket has been open for a while and hasn't been really updated because either waiting for someone information or waiting from testing feedback for like a particular team or things like that. I hope that everyone can put in efforts to at least like saying that, oh, I don't have updates or something like that, so I know at least you check on them instead of me keep asking the same questions. I think that would be really helpful for us to plan and triage those tickets for upcoming sprints if you provide a little bit more updated information. This is really important.
Cool.
I think that's it for this sprint, and we still have one more day, actually 1.5 day, wherever you try to catch it. And then next Monday we will go through the next set of tickets for the next sprint. We'll do the
Yeah,
Go
before
ahead.
we go, I think we have one ticket that we need to point, the mUzima 244.
Yes, we need
It's
points for that.
close. But we need to give it points to get our velocity kind of right. So
Yeah. First, how many points for
yeah,
this one? It has 4 sub-tickets. So do you want to give point for the parent ticket,
I
or
think we should just point the parent ticket and then just sub.
okay?
It should count, including all the subtasks that we need
Mm-hmm.
to do for 244.
Vikas did most of the work for this one. I think Vikas might be able to
Yeah.
tell us more on this one.
For the point, for the complete phase one, you are asking it up?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
for the complete phase one, 244. So it has like 4 sub-tickets on that, but
Yeah.
sum all the work together, how many points? Like 15 points, whatever points.
I think myself and Shweta, we worked and we think that it it can be 10.
Um,
Do we have that? Okay.
I think the option is 8 or 13.
Okay.
13. So yeah,
So
we should
we'll
go
go
with
for
13.
13.
Yeah. Okay.
13, okay, good. So there's another ticket that need points. Okay, that's the only one. Okay, 18 points. 13 points. Sorry. Okay.
Cool. If you can refresh, Ada, you can. Cool. Awesome.
So anything else, or any? So we're done with the retrospective review for this sprint, and then also go through all the tickets. And so except the sprint, for the current sprint, any other topic or issue that you guys want to discuss?
I think we can have this discussion separately. Like we have case where we have an end-to-end use of the notification module tested or working at all.
Yeah, for the teleconsultation one, the notification.
So that is completely working for teleconsultation.
The notification we tested before. We don't see any problem. The first version is working, but there are a few issues that we would like them to improve. Let's say, like grouping the related messages together, and things like that. So like more like an email type of looking, like grouping related emails in the same email thread. And also, go ahead.
Applications for registrations. Remember, before from a temporary registration, and then when a registration was completed, we're supposed to send a notification.
Yeah, we haven't tested on the. We haven't tested on those cases. We only tested on the existing patient cases. So that one hasn't been tested.
Okay.
Hmm?
Sounds good.
But that's a good point. Mine. I did not even think about that one.
Okay. Yeah, we can at least talk about it in terms of where the notification stuff fits. And as you said before, there might be a design conversation on it.
Yeah. Okay. So, any other topic?
I think for me,
Cool.
Rita, do you have a topic? So if not, I think we can end the call a few minutes early. And thanks everyone, and have a wonderful weekend.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.